in love.
All right. Welcome to the Lincoln City Council meeting of Monday, February 10th, 2025. Please be advised that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted at the back of the chambers by the northwest door. Let us all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a short moment of silent meditation, and please remain standing if you are able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. The order of business of the City Council is as follows. The clerk will call the items listed on the agenda. Under public hearing, anyone wishing to speak on an item must first register and sign in at the table located in the lobby. The council shall require any member of the public addressing the council to identify themselves, the name of an organization represented by such person, and their address, unless the address requirement has been waived for the security of the individual. Each speaker should state whether they are speaking in favor or in opposition to the item, and testimony is limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Anyone wishing to speak on an agenda item should come forward after the clerk reads the item and the applicant has presented. After public comments, the applicant may make one short rebuttal. After all public hearings, council will vote on resolutions and items listed under third reading. On the second and last Mondays of the month, immediately prior to adjournment, anyone may speak on an issue not on the agenda for that day nor planned for a future agenda. And we ask that all speakers strive for civility and allow the business of council to proceed unimpeded. Madam Clerk, will you read the first item of business?
Our first item of business today for our City Council meeting of Monday, February 10th is our Mayor's Award of Excellence.
Good afternoon, Mayor, and welcome.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Washington, members of the council. It is my pleasure to stand before you once again, and this time to present the Mayor's Award of Excellence for October of 2024 to Lincoln Transportation Utilities Equipment Operator Casey Dunn. Casey was nominated by LTU Labor Supervisor Roger Funk in the category of Valor and Bravery for his life-saving assistance to a motorcyclist involved in a crash last July. For Casey, that summer day started out much like any other. He went to work inspecting stormwater inlets in Northwest Lincoln's Air Park neighborhood. And that all changed, though, when Casey witnessed a collision involving two motorcycles. Without hesitating, he dropped what he was doing and rushed to the aid of one of the riders. Casey kept the rider's head immobilized, and he did so until paramedics arrived on the scene. His immediate intervention helped calm the rider and prevented further injury. After paramedics transported the rider to the hospital, Casey went back to work inspecting stormwater inlets. This, I might note, was not Casey's first life-saving act. Several years ago, he excavated dirt that had collapsed into a trench, helping to remove a community member from a potentially dangerous situation. And I guess I would just say that not that many people run towards an emergency situation or towards a traumatic event. But Casey is clearly one who reacts with courage and empathy, as do so many of our city employees. I'm really proud to serve alongside such individuals who care so greatly, not only about the work they do every day, but really about the people whom they serve, and often respond to calls that they don't expect to receive. So with that, I hope you will please join me in congratulating Casey Dunn for his quick thinking, cool-headed, life-saving assistance. Would you please join me in congratulating him? And with that, I'd like to invite up LTU Director Liz Elliott to say a few words about Casey.
Thank you. This has got to be probably my favorite part of my job, so I am very excited to be here again and want to extend a huge congratulations to Casey. Casey is one of those people who just simply does the right thing and just represents LTU so well, not only in events like this, which he seems to be part of frequently, but also just every day to work. He's very hardworking. He's wants to do the best for the city, and I think this event just exemplifies everything that he stands for. So thank you for being such a great service to the community and for being a great partner on LTU. So congratulations.
Thanks.
Would you like to say a few words? No? All right.
Thanks.
Yeah. Humility is another one of his amazing characteristics. All right. Well, with that, would you like to say anything more before we wrap up? We're going to head outside for pictures in a moment.
Yeah. Any other counselors? Oh, Councilman Beckius.
Casey, just want to say thank you for your service to the city, but also for our community members in their time of need. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to know that we've got people who are willing to jump in and help to help our neighbors. And it's what makes Lincoln really a great community to live in, knowing that there's always people to give a hand. Thank you.
Casey, have you thought about joining the police department?
Yeah, when I was younger.
All right, well, let's give him one more hand before
All
we head
right.
out. Thank you.
All right. We have a consent agenda before us. Madam Clerk?
Consent agenda, sections 1, 2, and 3.
Is there anyone here who'd like to present an item that's on consent? Or speak to an item that's on consent? All right, seeing no one come forward, Madam Clerk, let's call the roll on each of these items.
Item 1A is reappointing Shandana Katak, Nicole Trevina Flores, and Kathy Ermarker to the Commission on Women and Gender for terms to expire November 23rd, 2027, introduced by Duden.
Councilman Duden.
So moved.
I'll second.
Second, Carlson. Please call the roll.
Duden,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1B is approving a professional services agreement supplement number 2 for construction engineering services between the City of Lincoln and Olson, Inc. for the Fletcher Landmark Trail Project, introduced by Duden.
So moved.
Second.
Second, Carlson. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1C is approving the distribution of funds representing interest earnings on short-term investments of idle funds during the month ended September 30th, 2024, October 31st, 2024, November 30th of 2024, and December 31st of 2024, introduced by Schob.
So moved.
Second.
Second, Carlson. Any discussion? Madam Clerk.
Schob,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 2A was introduced by Schob.
So moved.
Second.
Second, Carlson. Any discussion? Madam Clerk.
Duden,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
All right. We can move on to public hearing on liquor resolutions.
I'll call items 4A and 4B together. Application of Venue 522 LLC, doing business as Venue 522, for a Class IK liquor license located at 1525 Yankee Hill Road, and the manager application of Kyle Ganna.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the council. My name is Derek Zimmerman, Baylor Evans Law Firm, 1248 O Street, Suite 900 here in Lincoln. Here today speaking on behalf of the applicant. And Venue 522 LLC is the operator. It's going to be multi-event space, 1525 Yankee Hill Road. It's a really cool space. I think I'm really excited for it. And I will let the business owner get up and speak and give their pitch in a second here. But there was one item related to the application that I did just want to address before the council today. And there's one cleanup item because the property, as it's located, does abut Wilderness Ridge Golf Course. Even though it's a golf course, it's zoned R3. And so even though there are no houses in the area, it's still zoned residential, which does trigger the distance requirement. There is an application that has been filed and is pending. It's going before Planning Commission next week. Then we'll be in front of council later that does address and will clean up that item on a going forward basis to not have this technical exclusion. There are no other items related to the application that are at issue. Everything else is set to go. We would ask for an approval with that condition today, just because we still need to go through the process of getting everything approved with the Liquor Commission and getting the license approved. But we are aware that it does depend on that condition that will be before you on the application before council within a few weeks. If there are any questions related to the legal part of it, I'm happy to answer them. If not, I would like the business owner to come up. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Are there any questions? Great. Mr. Zimmerman, could you tell us one more time, what day did you say that it was going to the Planning Commission?
It's next week. It's the 19th.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I don't think there are any other questions right now.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Welcome.
My name is Craig Gaina. I'm here on behalf of my wife, Lori, and daughter, Kylie. And we're excited to build this multi-space event venue down there by 14th and Yankee Hill. Would definitely welcome all of you to come tour it at any time. If you have time to do so, we'd love you to come down. We're here, as Derek said, he pretty well stated it. We are here for your support, if we could please, for a liquor license.
All right, are there any questions from councilors?
How big is this place going to be?
It is a 17,000 square foot building, and the event space is about 8,000 to 8,500. So yeah, it'd be fun. It's going to be fun. We've made it pretty versatile, so that way we could do several from corporate to weddings to anything you can think of. We tried to design it so that way it would be accommodating to all, no matter what the desire is. And we've got a lot of cool features that we're awful proud of. So yeah, come on down.
Craig, just want to take an opportunity to say thank you. I drive by this site every day, multiple times, and I've been watching it come out of the ground, and it does look quite the cool site. I don't know what the berm and the outdoor looks like, but it looks like it's going to be quite cool. So thank you for the investment in Lincoln, and thank you for moving in this realm into this sector. I think it's going to be an awesome space, and just want to thank you for your investment.
Appreciate those kind words, Tom. Thank you very much.
All right. I don't see any other questions. Thank you so much for coming forward.
Thanks again. Appreciate your time.
Would Director Carey come forward, please?
Good afternoon. David Carey, Director of the Planning Department, 555 South 10th Street.
Good afternoon, Director Carey. Could you give us an overview of what Mr. Zimmerman and Mr. Gaina explained?
Yeah, Derek most basically said everything that I would say. So we became aware of this conflict with the current code, and we are in agreement with the text amendment to allow for flexibility when there's the underlying zoning of a golf course. Clearly, there's no residential use happening there, and therefore the separation that otherwise would be applied really isn't needed. Okay. And so that's next Wednesday at Planning Commission, and then that should be before you for consideration in March.
Yeah. Is that on consent agenda, or is that an item?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you, but it's very possible that it's on consent, but I don't know for sure right now.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions for Director Carey? Okay, thank you very much. All right, let's move on to the next item. Oh, no, that's not true. Sorry. Is there anyone here who'd like to speak on this item, either in support or in opposition? Seeing no one, let's move on to the next item.
I'll call item 4C, manager application of Yao Amaganji for Hillcrest Country Club, doing business as Hillcrest Country Club located at 9401 O Street.
Welcome.
Pretty. How are we doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good. My name is Yao Amigandi. I'm the assistant GM at Hillcrest Country Club, and I submitted a liquor license amendment, and we have a manager departure, and I took over.
Okay.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Counselors, do you have any questions? All right. How long have you been at Hillcrest?
Hillcrest, closer to 9 months now. Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
All right. I don't believe we have any other questions for you, so
All right. Thank
good
you
luck.
very much.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
All right. Is there anyone who'd like to speak on this item, either in support or in opposition? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item.
Item 4D is manager application of Ronald Bahati for Lancaster County Agricultural Society, Inc., doing business at Sand Hills Global Event Center located at 4100 North 84th Street.
Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, Washington and the other council members. So this is going to be a manager application change for Sand Hills Global Event Center that is DBA for the Lancaster County Agricultural Society. There is one piece of cleanup, I believe, that I need to complete this Thursday. There's a class on the 13th, and I am signed up and registered for that, and we'll be here for that. And also for your submittal, I do have the copies of you can keep those, of both the state and the Lincoln classes and the training and the food and beverage certificate.
Okay. Are there any questions for Mr. Bahati?
We need his name and address.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Could we have your name and address?
Sure. So Ron Bohaty, Bohaty. Address is 1570 Midland Street, and that is Syracuse, Nebraska, 68446.
All right.
Any questions about the event center as a whole? We do have a lot of changes going on out there, and we've had some really good weekends. If you ever want to come out and see any of those events, please let me know. We'd love to give you a tour.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Is there anyone here who'd like to speak on this application, either in support or opposition? Seeing none?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make two motions for these four items. Starting with item 4A and 4B, I'd like to make a motion for conditional approval based on the actions of the Planning Commission.
I'll second.
Second, Carlson. Any discussion? That seems like the wise move.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. All right, Madam Clerk, let's address the first motion for conditional approval.
Okay. Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
Madam Chair, second motion for items 4C and 4D. I'd like to make a motion for approval.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Second, Carlson. Any discussion? Madam Clerk.
Duden,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we can move forward for public hearing resolutions.
I'll call item 5A, approving an agreement between the City of Lincoln and the County of Lancaster, Nebraska for the county's use of city-owned right-of-way for traffic detour purposes during the completion of the road paving project located at North 148th Street and Holdridge Street.
Good afternoon, Director Elliott.
Good afternoon, Elizabeth Elliott, Director of LTU, 555 South 10th. Sorry, I was looking around making sure Pam wasn't here. So this is, last week we were here for 98th Street. This is just another way we're partnering with Lancaster County Engineer on these projects, making sure that we have a viable detour for work that they are doing out in the county. And so this one is just putting that in writing so everyone's clear on roles, responsibilities, and duties. So happy to answer any questions you may have.
Does anyone have any questions for Director Elliott?
Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate the coordination. All right, Madam Clerk, let's call the roll.
Is there anyone here to testify on this item?
Oh, thank you so much. And my need for efficiency, pardon my head cold. Is there anyone here who'd like to speak on this item, either in support or in opposition? Item 5A. All right, now we may call the vote.
Okay. Item 5A is approving an agreement between the City of Lincoln and the County of Lancaster, Nebraska for the county's use of city-owned right-of-way for traffic detour purposes during the completion of the road paving project located at North 148th Street and Holdridge Street, introduced by Duden.
So moved. I'll second.
Second, Carlson, any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Beckius,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Duden,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
All right. All right, we can move forward to public hearing on ordinances and second reading.
I'll call item 6A, amending the pay schedule for the employee group whose classifications are assigned to the pay range prefixed by the letter N by creating the classification Assistant Wastewater Treatment Plant Operator.
Good afternoon. As you can see, this is for a new classification in our wastewater team. This was a budget item before you during the last budget cycle where we thank you for approving 2 assistant wastewater treatment operators. This is kind of modeling the same setup that we have in our water department. This allows for redundancy because we do have 2 treatment facilities. It allows for some additional succession planning and making sure that if someone is out on vacation or sick, we have people there that can cover and make sure that our system is up and running without going out of compliance. So that is what this is. This is covered by the budget. It is just in wastewater. There are 2 of them. And I do, Director McIntyre is also here if you have any questions from the HR perspective, but happy to answer any questions you might have.
Does anyone have questions? All right. And would any counselor like to talk to Director McIntyre? Okay, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Is there anyone here who'd like to speak on this item, either in support or in opposition? Seeing no one coming forward, we can move to the next item.
I'll call item 6B, an ordinance authorizing and providing for the issuance, sale, and delivery of general obligation stormwater drainage and flood management system bonds, Series 2025, in an aggregated principal amount not to exceed $13,900,000.
Good afternoon, Director Donlinger.
Yeah, good afternoon. Joe Donlinger, Finance Director for City of Lincoln, 555 South 10th Street. Here today to briefly give an overview of the stormwater bonds that were approved by voters last November. These are $13.9 million in general obligation bonds intended to mitigate the risk of flooding and improve water quality for the city. A quick overview of some of the projects that are included in this issuance. Really threefold. There's urban drainage projects, stream stabilization projects, and park drainage projects. Also included is some funding for some street sweepers. I did invite Scott and Colleen here with Piper Sandler and Gilmore and Bell to give just a brief overview of the process from here. So I'll invite you two up.
Good afternoon, Colleen Duncan. I'm a partner at Gilmore & Bell. We're the city's bond counsel. The ordinance before you is consistent with prior GO ordinance forms, authorizes the issuance of the bonds that the voters approved, and delegates authority to the finance director and city staff to finalize those terms in connection with the sale that Scott will talk about. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about the ordinance itself or any of the legal provisions. And Scott will talk a little bit about the more interesting things, which are the market and interest rates. There we go.
Scott Keene, Piper Sandler, the city's municipal advisor. As Colleen mentioned, the planned dollar amount of the financing is $13.9 million. As in the past, we're looking at a 20-year amortization of those bonds. The final maturity would be December of 2044. In today's market, the average interest rate for the bonds would fall somewhere between 3.7 and 3.9%, which results in annual debt service payments of just over $1 million, or something approximating $1,150,000. Our game plan right now, the documents have been delivered to Standard & Poor's to request a rating. As in the past, we fully expect that Standard & Poor's will affirm the city's unlimited tax general obligation rating of AAA, the highest rating category that they have. We expect to have that rating by March 10th and plan to go to market March 20th. And settle and deliver the funds, have the winning bidder in the competitive auction deliver the proceeds of that bond sale to the city around April 3rd. So we're moving forward very quickly. It's a critical time right now in that we need to include the city's 2024 ACFR as part of the financing, your financial statements that are as up to date as possible. And so we're waiting for those to be completed, and we'll have a discussion with the rating agency on those and get to market as quickly as we can after that. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right. Thank you very much, both Colleen and Scott. Are there any questions? Well, this was very clear. This was the day. Directors, we had our LFR and LPD pension fund, so we've heard from your firm quite a lot today. Thank you.
Right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here today who'd like to speak on this item? Anyone here today like to speak on this item? All right. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, let's proceed.
I'll call item 6C, approving a real estate sales agreement between the City of Lincoln and NeighborWorks, Inc. for the sale of city-owned property generally located at 3015 N Street.
Good afternoon, Director Hind.
Chair Washington and members of the council, it's good to see you this afternoon. In front of you today is a sale to NeighborWorks Lincoln for 3015 N Street. And I just want to kind of take you through the process of how we got to today. In 2015, we started assessing fees and fines on this property due to neglect and other things through our Building and Safety Department. In 2019 or early 20, the city demolished the property after it was closed down and shut down. Then we had a lien against the property for unpaid fines, fees, weed notices, tax, etc. And then the city foreclosed in August of 24 on this property. The cost against it was $37,000. I want to break that down a little bit. Our cost to demo the project or the building and get it to be ground was $20,000. That was our cost out of pocket. The other $17,000 were taxes, interest, et cetera, that essentially came to us as fees and other things. Some of it obviously was taxes will go to the county. So we worked with thinking about our goals of affordable housing. We work with NeighborWorks on a number of projects. And so NeighborWorks we felt was the quickest way to get a project back on the market, to get this property back on the tax rolls. And so NeighborWorks has agreed to purchase this for $30,000 from us moving forward. And that's what's in front of you today. And I'll take any questions that you might have for me at this time.
Okay. Councilman Beckius.
Thank you, Chair Washington. Thank you, Director Hind, for coming forward. I appreciate it. So it looks like, looking through the history of this particular property, that it went through a sheriff's sale when the city of Lincoln wanted to collect the property in lieu of payment for the demolition and so on and so forth. And it appears as if the city of Lincoln was the only bidder at that point in time. Is that correct?
That's correct. At the sheriff's sale, anybody from the public could have purchased this property, and we were the only people there to do the purchase. That's correct.
I just gotten a constituent question about the process and the sales price in particular. And, you know, ordinarily during those sheriff sales, if the property is valued at higher than the initial bid, then people will bid it up and take it, and that wasn't the case here. And I did look at the property. It's pretty rough.
Yes.
And it seems as though from the sales contract that it looks like NeighborWorks is going to be taking on some other cleanup and responsibilities for the lot, because the lot's still pretty rough. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah. The lot is 44 by 172, which is a non-conforming lot, but because there was a house on it not too long ago, we changed our rule that you can build on this lot again because there was a house there. But as Councilman Beckius mentions, there are more cleanup that needs to happen on this lot for them to be able to build a new home, and NeighborWorks is willing to do that.
Thank you, Director. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions or comments for the director? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your consideration.
Is there anyone present who'd like to comment on this project, either in support or in opposition? Anyone else here today? Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk.
Item 6D is annexation 24010, application request of Matadol LLC to annex approximately 45 acres of property generally located at South 98th Street and Van Dorn Streets.
All right. Welcome.
Thank you. I'd like to cover maybe both items, this item and the next item, because the next item I think is the PUD change of zone that goes along with the annexation.
Madam Chair, can I go ahead and read that item onto
why don't
record?
you- Yes, please read that item into the record, Madam Clerk.
Item 6E is change of zone 17030F, application of Matadol LLC to change the zoning designation from AG Agricultural District to R3 Residential PUD, planned unit development from an R3 Residential to P Public Use District, and from an AG Agriculture District to P Public Use District, with associated waivers on property generally located at 98th and Van Dorn Streets.
Good afternoon, members of the council. Danae Kalkowski, appearing today on behalf of Matadol LLC, developers of the Wandering Creek development, 1128 Lincoln Mall, Suite 105. This development is located out on the north side of Van Dorn and just west of 98th Street, kind of between 88th and 98th Street. So the items you have before you today are annexation and change of zone for the next phase. I've kind of highlighted the next phase there in pink. And so we've got about 42 acres that are being added to the Wandering Creek PUD. If you recall, well, back in February of 2018, we came in with the original PUD out here, sort of master plan concept for the entire area, but only annexed and zoned the first phase. So we master planned the infrastructure, the site plan, and then also the grading and drainage plan. So what you're going to see in the staff report is what we're requesting is in conformance with what we've been showing all along for this property, continued single-family development, and then we've also pulled in the LPS site because they'd like to be change their zone to P public and not be part of the R3, PUD, and that's pretty typical for the public school sites around the city. Probably just one thing I'd point out for you here is with this addition, it will allow the connection of South Street over to 98th. The neighbors are excited about that when we visited with them about it at the neighborhood meeting to have another, connection. And obviously we've got 98th Street newly opened out here in this area and improved. So that will probably be paved. Utilities will be going in and paving this summer and fall, so we hope to have that connection made this fall. Couple things, there are 2 waivers that came along since this is an amendment to the PUD, a couple cleanup items. I think there's a waiver to reduce internal setbacks for one of the townhome lots, what the staff report indicates as a typical waiver. And then the other waiver is for a sign on the Canoia nursery. It's allowing, instead of the sign to be placed on the building, it's allowing the sign to be freestanding. Maybe I'll show you a picture just so you can see it. Sort of a uniquely constructed building if you've been out there to see the Canoia. So, because this apparatus is separated. This is actually separate from the building. The sign would be considered to be off of the building, and they'd be allowed a sign this size, which isn't very effective, right? And obviously, the sign is in lieu of putting signage on their glass building. So the sign they've requested will go on the structure that's out in front of their glass building. But in lieu of wall signage, they're requesting the standalone sign. Both of those were supported by staff. All of these items were on the Planning Commission consent agenda and were approved as part of that process. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Are there any questions from council members?
No.
Great, thank you.
Good project, thank you. Is there anyone here today who'd like to speak on this item, or these two items, item 6D and 6E? Anyone here wishing to speak on either one of these items? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, let's move forward.
I'll call item 6F, amending Lincoln Municipal Code Chapter 10.32 to allow for free parking in areas designated as being reserved for handicapped persons.
All right, Councilman Bowers, would you please introduce this?
Thank you so much. Today I am proud to introduce a policy aimed at taking a small step to get closer to our goal of making Lincoln more accessible to all residents. This proposal works to improve equitable access to parking when they need it most, especially when designated handicap parking stalls are full. Under this policy, vehicles displaying a valid handicap placard, whether blue, red, or a handicap designated license plate, will be allowed to park at metered spaces without paying the meter fee while still adhering to posted time limits. This approach is not new. It has been successfully implemented in cities like Omaha, Denver, and Chicago. It is a simple, common sense measure that prioritizes accessibility without creating financial strain on the city. Currently, Lincoln's handicap designated stalls are non-metered, but when those are occupied, individuals with disabilities are left with few options. They are either forced to park further away or face an unexpected financial burden just to access essential services, workplaces, or businesses. Additionally, I have received reports that many of Lincoln's parking meters are difficult or impossible to access for those with mobility challenges. Whether due to sidewalk obstruction, placement, or physical barriers, these meters create unnecessary obstacles for people who already face accessibility challenges. It's unfair to place additional strain on individuals with disabilities because the city lacks enough designated handicap parking. People should not have to choose between paying a fine or struggling to find an accessible space to participate in everyday life. When accessible parking is insufficient, the burden should not fall on those who need it most. Instead, we should be working to remove these barriers, not reinforcing them through financial penalties. This policy is not the end goal or the final step in making our city accessible, and it does not completely eliminate the challenges Lincolnites with mobility, health, or accessibility limitations face, but is a step towards alleviating these barriers as our city works towards the goal of being accessible to all residents. It's not just about parking. It's about fairness, dignity, independence, and upholding the value that Lincoln is a city where everyone can fully participate in daily life. I look forward to discussing this policy further and hearing from members of our community during our public hearing, and together we can take an important step forward in making Lincoln a leader in accessibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilors, do you have any questions for Councilman Bowers?
Nope.
All right. Then let's open the floor for the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward. We have 2 microphones.
Good afternoon, council members.
Good afternoon.
My name is Randy Jones. I'm the Director of Aging Partners. I'm here today to express my support for this amendment of the Lincoln Municipal Code regarding free parking for handicapped identified vehicles in street parking. Handicap placards are available to persons who use wheelchairs, crutches, walkers, prosthetic, orthotic, and other assisted devices, individuals whose personal mobility is limited as a result of respiratory problems, and persons who have permanently lost limbs. The free use of street parking supports access to critical services, entertainment, medical care, and commerce, and supports the independence of the users. 15 states and Washington, D.C. have laws allowing for free parking in handicap spots or non-handicap spots. When we conducted our age-friendly survey of 860 older citizens, fear of parking downtown was identified as a major concern. And I believe part of that concern was limited handicap parking. This step will encourage the use of street parking by handicap placard vehicles. Eliminating barriers to using downtown street parking for persons with disabilities would be one more step towards Lincoln's role as an age-friendly community. Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
Good afternoon. My name is Roger Lemke. I live at 2501 North 74th Street here in Lincoln, your district, Congressman Bowers. And I'm here today to speak in favor of supporting the amendment that was just offered up to you. I'm currently president of the Seniors Foundation. We provide support to aging partners. Randy just spoke to a minute ago. We helped and with the council and others in getting aging partners moved out to the VA campus, and it's been very, very successful. So we are very interested as a foundation in helping do more to support our senior population. In that regard, we are currently working to support improving the bus stop locations throughout Lincoln. So we'll be helping the city in making those improvements going forward. But today I want to speak in favor of the ordinance revision that's being offered up. And I'm going to use a visual if it's okay. This belongs to my wife. My wife is wheelchair bound. So when we come downtown, we go to find a handicap parking spot. It's not just the spot, it's a wider spot. Because without a wider spot, she's not able to get out of the van, I'm not able to get the wheelchair around to pick her up. So the problem with that a little bit is, of course, anybody with this can use it. So that those that can get out of a car more normally, maybe, and walk and so forth, end up using the spot, which keeps it from her using it and us getting the service we want. So I'm hoping that with this, that by opening up metered spots for those that can use them with the pass, if you will, we'll be able to get closer to where they need to go and get their work done, and maybe leave the regular handicap spots more open for those that really do need that extra space and so forth to function, if you will. So I would appreciate your support of this going forward, and thank you very much, Councilman Bowers, for doing this for the city.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, Chairman Washington. My name is Brad Murins, and I am the Public Policy Director at Disability Rights Nebraska. We are located at 2930 Ridgeline Road in Lincoln, Nebraska. And we are the state's designated protection and advocacy organization for persons with disabilities in Nebraska. So our main charge is to protect and advocate for the rights of those persons with individuals with disabilities in our state. And I think this is a very reasonable and responsible solution. Now, if we want to open up the community for persons with disabilities to participate in civic duties, in commerce, and in recreation, we need to ensure that there's enough parking spots and enough opportunities for them to park. And this also would benefit those individuals who may have a respiratory issue or an invisible disability that limits their ability to walk a certain amount of time. So they could, if those spots were closed, they could take a spot that's closer to the door, closer to where the building is there they want to go to, instead of having to walk all the way around, because that would be awful for a person who couldn't make that journey due to a health condition. You know, this is a reasonable solution, and the issue does happen. I know as a disability organization, we have persons with disabilities on our board of directors and on our advisory councils, and can come in through our offices for services and for a counseling or advice. And when we were downtown, there were two spots that a person could use. One was right in front of the office, and one was across the street and down a little bit. And I think there were times when both of those spots were filled, and we had, you know, persons with disabilities on our board and our staff and coming to our office that couldn't park in those spots because they were already taken for whatever reason. And especially if you have more than three, we had more than three people who had disabilities and you had to use those accessibility spots, there's the two are already taken, and the third one person has to go and figure out and drive around and find one or wait. And that's just, sometimes it's unreasonable. So I think this is a very positive and reasonable solution to a problem that does happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Edison McDonald, Edison McDonald, 215 Centennial Mall South. I'm here today as the Executive Director of the ARC of Nebraska, the state's largest membership organization for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families. We're here to express our strong support for the proposed policy to enhance accessible parking for individuals with disabilities in Lincoln. Accessible parking is more than a convenience. It's a fundamental necessity for individuals with disabilities to ensure they can participate in our community. The current system, while providing designated handicap parking stalls, falls short often in a variety of situations. By allowing these vehicles this extra opportunity, it will ensure that they are able to fully participate in our community. We are very excited about this, and just a couple of ideas as y'all move forward of things to think about, because I'm sure that you want to continue to make our community more accessible. One, we've struggled with some Lincolnites who have parked in a space, not a metered space, but a street side, and then had difficulty when there is a significant snow incident and they have to move their car, but they're not able to even get to their car through the snow, not able to move it, and they've been ticketed sometimes, and we've struggled with that in the past. The other issue that, as Mr. Mearns was speaking, I was reminded of, our office is also downtown, and what we frequently see is when special events are held, a lot of times those accessible spaces will end up being blocked off, which significantly decreases that access to our office, to other events, to the state capitol. So, I don't know for sure what the solution is, but I'd encourage you to think about those as other steps. And for today, I think that this is an excellent pathway forward. And just to give you a little bit of a statistic to kind of get you an idea of some of the issues here, each election cycle, we partner up with a variety of organizations to collect data on polling locations, which, I always talk about polling locations aren't just a polling location. They are our libraries, our schools, our community centers, our hubs. And what we found is that across the state, 13% of locations fail to comply with the bare ADA standard in terms of accessible parking. And, Lincoln, I will note, does better, but I think that this is an area we continue to find potential solutions to help alleviate and ensure full inclusion. Thank you.
I have one question. Mr. McDonald, you said that the statistic you just gave was a
Yes.
statewide?
Yeah.
Do you have it for Lincoln by any chance?
I could break that down. It would take me a little while to break that down, but yeah, I can get that to you.
I'm very interested to know if we have polling stations and libraries that don't meet the bare ADA
Yeah.
accessibility standard. I think
Yeah.
that would be important for us to know.
I'll send you that data.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone else here to speak this afternoon on this issue? All right. Would you like to make closing statements?
Yeah, thank you so much to all the folks who came out and provided testimony and public comment. Really appreciate you coming out and getting your voice heard. This policy reflects our shared commitment to making Lincoln a more accessible city. By working to continue to meet our goal of removing unnecessary barriers to parking, we are sending a message that every resident, regardless of mobility challenges, deserve equal access to our community services, businesses, and public spaces. While this is just one step forward, it is a meaningful one. It aligns us with other cities that have recognized the importance of prioritizing accessibility and reaffirms that Lincoln values fairness and independence for all its residents. I would encourage my colleagues in the community to support this common sense measure, and I look forward to continuing this conversation on how we can make Lincoln a city that works for everyone. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Madam Clerk, could you move us to the next item?
Section 7 is our resolution's first reading, item 7A. Next is Section 8, which is our pending list, our items 8A through 8D.
All right. As noted in the front of at the front of the meeting, the second and last Mondays of the month, immediately prior to adjournment, anyone may speak on an issue not on the agenda for today or planned for a future agenda. As this is the second Monday of the month, I would invite anyone who would like to address City Council to come forward. You have 5 minutes for any number of comments that you'd like to bring to the council. And we only ask that you allow that you strive for civility and allow the business of council to proceed unimpeded. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Anastasia Fenner. I'm going to waive my address for my personal safety. I'm here to explain that even though there has been a ceasefire, that does not mean that there has been an end to the genocide in Gaza. Well, not just the genocide in Gaza, the genocide in Palestine at large, which has been going on since, the Nakba in 1948, when hundreds of thousands of people were killed, displaced. Right. And Lincoln, Nebraska is particularly culpable because we still have a fully functioning weapons manufacturer on Industrial Avenue in Superior, right next to where people live, right next to where kids can be, just, in the thick of our city. There are people that partially build 2,000-pound bombs that go and absolutely destroy people. The ramp up of the genocide has moved from what we have seen in Gaza, right? I don't know if anyone has seen any of the aerial photos of Rafah, but in 2023, it looked like a place. It looked like a city that had buildings. And now it doesn't look like a city. A city has green and people and walkways and healthcare facilities and water filtration and sanitization, sewage lines. That does not exist because our city, your city council, is allowing it to happen, right? They are actively doing nothing to stop the making of bombs that kill children. This genocide has gone from its ramp up in Gaza and is now being shifted to the West Bank. I don't know if you've particularly seen, but I believe the city of Jenin is under some intense heavy casualties. I don't know why the city of Lincoln is allowing these buildup of bodies to continue to be done in our name. I also would like to state that as someone who is aware of how history works, is aware roughly of how war is supposed to work. I say this in air quotes, and that is because when enemy nations bomb other enemy nations, do you know where they bomb? Do you know what places get attacked? Those places are the places that make bombs. Those are weapons manufacturer places. I want to live in a safe city, a city where our work is safe, where we're not killing people by making things that are solely designed for the utmost destruction of human life. But if the U.S. were to be in some sort of place where someone in the world decided that we were culpable, Lincoln, Nebraska could become a target because we're doling out the pain. I don't want to be in a city that is being bombed because our leaders have refused to get away from the thing that would make us a target. How accurate do you think that people will be out of desperation to get rid of our stuff? Do you think they'll care if they bomb one of our schools? That is the nature of war, is it not? You bomb, we bomb. What happens when someone decides that the United States is too big for its britches and they want to wipe Lincoln off of the face of the earth because we won't stop making 2,000-pound bombs? This is gross. Your city council doesn't care about lives over there that we're actively killing in Gaza. Doesn't care. Don't care about the potential risk to the lives here of having a giant weapons manufacturer. It's because I don't know if you guys, if anyone has noticed, but a lot of the conversations like, oh well, they're targeting this place because there's weapons that are made there. Yeah, they can do that here too. They can do that right here. One more thing before I go. I think that that maybe Brody Weber needs to see this.
You reached your time.
Just, I think you might want to contact the people at Channel 8 News and let them know that your name ain't Tom Beckius.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address council? If not, we will. You do need to come forward. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Roy Helm. I identify with the pronouns of he and him. I reside at 2750 South 13th Street, which is on Oto, Missouri land. I do want to say that during the last public commentary last month, that there were some profanities stated and obscene hand gestures directed towards the city council, and I just feel it's important for me to share that there are people in this city that find that kind of behavior reprehensible and inappropriate, especially in the chambers of the city council meeting. We all have our opinions. I have mine, and I've had my disagreements with some of the action taken by this council and by individual members, but I will deal with that in a civil matter as I have in the past going forward. It is part of our responsibility as human beings to treat each other with dignity and respect. And if we cannot do that, then I think it's important or imperative to remain silent until cooler heads can prevail and civil discourse can occur. I don't know if this is just out of anger or this obscenity and harsh treatment is anger, hatred, frustration. I don't know, but it is disturbing, and it's contrary to what we're looking for. We're striving for a peaceful community, a peaceful world, and if all we exchange are harsh words, we will never reach a compromise or an understanding on how best to move forward. I do want to take some time to extend my appreciation and gratitude for the fact that Fire Station number 8 has reopened at 17th and Van Dorn Street, and I know there were a lot of challenges during the construction process, and I'm just very thankful that the city has provided our responders with a very safe workspace and a space to work from that will protect them both physically and mentally and benefit them and they will ultimately benefit not just our neighborhoods but our entire community. And I think it does stand as a shining example of what can be accomplished, what the positive work that can be done when different groups come together and formulate a plan that works well for everyone. So I do thank the council and the whole city administrative team for the actions in getting that project completed. It is a shining star and I hope an example for not just the rest of Lincoln but for other communities as well. Lastly, I want to thank our mayor and chief of police and city administration for the stance they've taken on not providing our police force to participate in ICE raids. It takes a lot of courage to stand up and say no, that's not appropriate for an appropriate use of our law enforcement. So thank you. It is appreciated and we stand with you on that. And that's all I have, and I appreciate all the work you do, and especially to our clerk. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Helm. If there's anyone else who'd like to address council, please come forward. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So I'm not well prepared for this.
Your name?
I choose not to provide my name.
Sir, we asked for your name. You don't have to give us an address.
I'm sorry.
Proceed.
So I want to add on what my friend was talking about. I think you as a city council should review and look again about letting such companies and firms here in Lincoln that are running here.
Sir, we cannot hear you.
So I'm here, I've lived in Lincoln for almost 2 decades, if not more, and I'm a good citizen. I don't have any penalties, even probably 1 traffic ticket. And this encouraged me to see that the city is allowing such companies and firms to have an establishment here in Lincoln, where these firms are directly linked to funding and militarizing genocides. The genocide in Gaza that is still ongoing, by the way, is completely fueled and funded by General Dynamics and Pepsi-Cola, Coca-Cola, and I would love to see the city council reviewing the permission of having those firms having an establishment here in town. As I said, I've been a good citizen and I pay my taxes and everything, and I do have family members in Palestine and in Gaza who has been killed. I had relatives and friends. And just to get the image closer, imagine you pay for taxes just to go and kill your people. I shouldn't be biased because they're my people. They don't have to be my people to be biased, but I'm bringing this up just to make it clear for you guys. And I'm urging each one of you to review and look into not letting those places or those firms, companies, factories run their business on the soil of this small town. Well, I was gonna add another thing, but like I see some of you guys look exhausted. Maybe you should, each one of you look at their mirrors and see why. Maybe if you think of the matter from a humanitarian cause, maybe you'd feel better. And maybe you'll get like a good chance of having a positive impression from people here in town who are standing against the genocide. Well, that was everything I have for today, so I hope the message is clear.
Thank you.
Hello.
Welcome.
Happy to see some of y'all again. I know it's been a while. I'm trying to keep up this time. My name is Timothy Jones, and I wanted to know, did any of you guys receive my complaint that I submitted towards the FBI?
I believe I saw that in my box about 2 hours ago.
Yes, I received it as well.
Yes.
But have not read it.
Everyone else received it? Thank you. I'll try to be quick. I know y'all ready to get out of here. I wanted to address the FBI. I also wanted to address public housing, and I also wanted to address Human Department Services, I believe it is, Department of Human Services. I wanted to know, can you guys arrange that meeting for the next coming public speaking meeting? Which I believe, what date is that? I don't have my,
From today, it's February, 2 weeks from today, February 24th.
Okay, can you guys arrange that for these guys to attend this meeting? Because I really would like to address them, and if I have to, I will address y'all. But I would like to address them here in front of you guys.
The Department of Human Services is run by the Lancaster County, by Lancaster County.
Yeah, on
They meet on Tuesday.
5555, I think 10th Street.
I'll make a note of it. We should talk afterwards.
Okay, can we also have the FBI?
We'll talk afterwards. So you're asking us to bring other people to the meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
We can talk afterwards.
And public housing.
Public housing.
What was that last one?
Public housing, and did you want to make a statement about public housing, sir?
Yeah, I want to address them as well. I want to address all three parties.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address council?
Madam Chair, seeing no one else coming forward, I would move adjournment.
Second.
Second, Duden. Madam Clerk.
Duden.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Schob.
Yes.
Beckius.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
We're dismissed.